In this podcast episode, the host interviews Colby Covington, a UFC fighter known for his controversial and outspoken personality. They discuss various topics, including his recent fight with Leon Edwards, his loyalty to President Trump, and his approach to marketing and promoting himself as a fighter. Covington expresses his admiration and loyalty to President Trump, citing the president's willingness to give up his wealthy lifestyle to fight for America. He mentions that Trump's net worth has decreased during his time in office, which he sees as a sign of the president's dedication to the country. Covington also talks about the personal relationship he has with Trump, including receiving advice and support from the president before his fights. He emphasizes the loyalty and respect that Trump has shown him, despite being the most famous person on earth. Covington discusses the importance of marketing and promoting oneself as a fighter in the UFC. He believes that it's not enough to just win fights, but that fighters should also engage in trash talk and create animosity to generate excitement and interest from fans. He mentions that his outspoken and controversial persona has helped increase pay-per-view sales and draw attention to his fights. Covington also criticizes other fighters, such as Leon Edwards, for not being effective marketers and for lacking the ability to generate interest in their fights. During the podcast, Covington makes controversial comments about Leon Edwards' father, accusing him of having a criminal past involving sex trafficking and drug dealing. He defends his comments by stating that he is speaking the truth and that he has no intention of feeling sorry for someone with such a troubled history. Covington also responds to criticism from other fighters, such as Sean Strickland and Michael Chandler, by making personal attacks and questioning their abilities as fighters. Covington acknowledges the pressure and responsibility that comes with having President Trump in the audience during his fights. He feels motivated to perform well and not let the president down, considering the support and loyalty that Trump has shown him. He sees Trump as a role model and mentor, and he is willing to stand up for his beliefs, even if it means facing backlash and censorship on social media platforms. He also discusses his aspirations to run for Congress in the future, believing that he can make a significant impact as a self-made man from a blue-collar family. Covington criticizes LeBron James for his refusal to stand during the national anthem and his lack of support for law enforcement and first responders. He accuses James of being influenced by China and suggests that his actions are driven by financial incentives. He also discusses the broader narrative of the NBA being aligned with the left and promoting a specific agenda, contrasting it with the UFC's stance on free speech and individual expression. The conversation delves into the influence of big pharmaceutical companies and the impact of lucrative endorsements on athletes. Covington highlights the case of Travis Kelce, who reportedly received a substantial payment from Pfizer for a promotional campaign. He questions the ethical implications of such endorsements, particularly in the context of public health and individual decision-making. He emphasizes the importance of maintaining integrity and not compromising one's values for financial gain. Throughout the podcast, Covington emphasizes the importance of personal integrity and standing by one's values. He expresses his refusal to compromise his beliefs for financial gain, citing his strong stance on issues such as free speech, conservative principles, and ethical decision-making. He also discusses the challenges faced by athletes in balancing financial opportunities with moral considerations, particularly in the context of endorsements and public influence. Covington expresses criticism of political figures like Matt Gaetz and Ron DeSantis. He discusses the challenges of navigating the political arena and the importance of making decisions that align with the values of Middle America. He also addresses the controversy surrounding his use of explicit language and the impact it may have on his political aspirations. Covington delves into the details of his falling out with Jorge Masvidal, citing Masvidal's ego and backstabbing behavior as the reasons for their feud. He recounts living with Masvidal and the personal attacks he has faced from his former friend. He also discusses their professional rivalry and the physical altercation that took place outside a steakhouse in Miami. When asked about his friends and support system, Covington mentions his best friend, Charlie Weiss, a police officer who has saved his life in the past. He also mentions his mentor in the MMA space, Chael Sonnen, as someone he looks up to and seeks advice from. Covington emphasizes that his support system consists of people outside the fighting circle, such as doctors, dentists, lawyers, and military personnel. Covington addresses the perception of him as a villain in the UFC, stating that he is simply being himself and does not care what others think of him. He also mentions that he does not want to be friends with other fighters, as their perspectives and approaches to business differ from his own. When asked about his relationship with Conor McGregor, Covington states that he respects McGregor's accomplishments in the sport and believes he may have a future in politics in Ireland. Covington expresses his support for secure borders and criticizes the current administration's handling of immigration. He discusses the influx of illegal migrants and the potential implications of open borders, including human trafficking and drug-related issues. He also mentions the potential impact of these issues on future elections.